Mom shaved my head bald night before graduation and laughed bald like your future. Dad laughed and snapped a picture beside me, best family joke yet. The next morning, their joke turned into their curse. The night before what was supposed to be the proudest day of my life, I sat in my room ironing the gown I had worked 4 years to earn. I ran my fingers along the fabric slowly, almost reverently, imagining myself walking across the stage, hearing my name called and proving to the world that I wasn't the shadow my parents had always told me I was. My heart was thudding in my chest, both nervous and excited, because for once I thought maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be able to deny me this. But I should have known better. The door swung open without a knock. My mom stood there, her eyes glinting with something I couldn't quite place at first, mockery and maybe, or the cruel delight she always carried whenever she knew she was about to humiliate me. In her hand was a pair of electric clippers. My stomach sank. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Still pretending you're somebody? She sneered. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'll make sure tomorrow no one forgets who you really are. Before I could react, my dad appeared behind her, already holding his phone like it was entertainment night. Do it, he chuckled. Let's see if baldness makes her future look any less pathetic. I froze in my chair, gripping the arm so hard my knuckles turned white. Mom, please, not tomorrow, not tonight. This is my graduation, don't do this. Her hand clamped down on my shoulder, sharp nails biting into my skin. Exactly why, tonight, she said coldly. Because you don't deserve to stand up there, acting like some achiever. You're ours and we decide how the world sees you. The buzzing filled my ears before I even processed what was happening. Hot tears blurred my vision as strands of my hair fell sliding down my gown, pooling at my feet. I begged, I screamed, but my father only laughed louder, snapping photos with every pass of the clippers. Oh, this is gold, he snorted. Wait until the family group chat sees this, best family joke yet. I felt each lock ripped away like pieces of myself, my identity, my pride, my years of trying to build a life beyond their ridicule, all stripped down to raw skin on my scalp. When the last buzz stopped, I sat in the chair trembling, bald, humiliated, pieces of my hair scattered across the floor like a burial for the girl I had tried to become. My mom tilted my chin upward with the clippers still in her hand. Look at you, bald like your future. She spat, her lips curling into a smile. Now when you walk across that stage, everyone will see the truth, failure playing his day. And then my dad stepped beside me, crouching just enough to shove his phone in my face for a final photo. The flash seared into my teary eyes. Perfect, he laughed, satisfied. Tomorrow they'll clap for your degree, but laugh at your head. Finally, you're good for something. Comic relief. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on my bed, scalp raw, pillow damp with tears. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard their laughter echoing, saw my reflection in the mirror. My face small, pale, my head bare like I'd been stripped of my very humanity. But somewhere between sobs, a thought flickered, dangerous and sharp. If tomorrow was supposed to be their joke, then the real punchline would be mine. And I promised myself this would not end with me broken. The morning of graduation, I sat in front of the mirror, my fingers brushing across the bare skin of my scalp, every touch reminding me of what they had stolen. My cap and gown lay neatly folded on the bed, but even the side of them felt poisoned now. What should have been my armor looked like a costume for ridicule. Behind the door, I heard them laughing. My dad's voice carried loud and taunting. She's probably staring at herself, trying to glue the hair back on. And my mom's response? Colder, sharper, letter. The world should see her for what she is. Nothing. A bald, pitiful nothing. That degree doesn't make her more than what she was born as. I clutched the edge of the dresser so hard it almost splintered beneath my nails. Every word cut deep, but I swallowed the anger because I knew if I showed it, they'd win. I told myself to just make it through the day. Just walk that stage, take the diploma, and leave. That was the plan. When we arrived at the ceremony, heads turned immediately. It was impossible to hide my bald scalp under the mortarboard cap. It wobbled on my head like it didn't belong. Whispers started almost instantly. Small, sharp arrows fired from every corner. Did she do that on purpose? Looks like a joke. God, I'd die before walking like that? My sister, always the golden child, smirked as she brushed past me in her own gown. She leaned close enough for me to hear and whispered, "Careful not to blind the audience when the lights hit your shiny head." Then she glided forward, laughing with her friends. I tried to focus on the stage, the sea of chairs, the banner that read, "Congratulations, graduates." But the world felt smaller and darker with every passing minute. My parents didn't sit quietly in the crowd. They thrived in the attention. I saw my dad raise his phone, zooming in on me, making sure he didn't miss a single moment of my shame. My mom leaned toward the family and the row behind them, saying loud enough for me to hear, "We shaved her ourselves. Best laugh we've had in years." Their chuckles joined hers like a chorus of cruelty. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might crack my chest open, but I walked when they called my name. My legs felt like they weighed 100 pounds each. I stepped onto the stage, the cap tilting awkwardly, the harsh lights exposing the sheen of my scalp. Gasps rippled through the crowd, then laughter. Not polite, not kind, real laughter. I heard it, I felt it, and in the middle of that wave of humiliation, my dad's voice pierced through like a blade. Bald like her future, he bellowed loud enough for the microphone to catch it. The audience roared with laughter, not knowing it was deliberate cruelty. Not realizing this was a family tearing one of its own apart. The dean tried to smile, tried to mask the tension, but even his eyes lingered too long on my head before handing me the degree. My hands trembled as I reached out, but before I could step away, I saw movement in the front row. My dad had gotten up, walked forward, and with a theatrical flourish, he ripped the degree out of my hand. "You think a piece of paper makes her someone?" He jeered to the crowd, holding it up like a prize. Then, with both hands, he tore it straight down the middle, the sound of paper ripping echoing across the hall. The audience gasped at this time. Not laughter, shock. But before the silence settled, he grabbed the trophy. I had been awarded earlier for academic excellence, lifted it high, and smashed it down against my head. The world blurred, pain shot through my skull. I stumbled, catching myself on the podium, feeling warm blood trickle down my face. My cap fell to the ground, forgotten. My gown stained, my mother's laughter rang above everything. She stood, clapping her hands. Now she knows what she's worth. Look at her, bleeding and bald. That's the only stage she belongs on. The teachers moved hesitantly, as though unsure whether to interfere. Students stared, some horrified, some whispering like it was a scandal they'd savor later. My sister grinned from ear to ear, basking in my collapse as though it was her achievement. I should have fainted. I should have broken. But as I wiped the blood from my face with the sleeve of my gown, I looked out into that crowd, and something inside me hardened. I saw my parents doubled over in laughter, my sister smirking like a queen. And I realized this was the last time they would ever laugh at me. Not because they'd stop, but because I would end it. As I walked off the stage, ignoring the whispers, ignoring the pitying stares, I held the shredded paper and broken pieces of the trophy in my hands. They thought they had destroyed me in front of everyone. What they didn't know was that they had handed me the very stage I needed. They had shown everyone what kind of parents they were, and if they thought this was the end of my story, they were about to learn how wrong they were. The blood on my gown, the sting of my scalp, the humiliation etched into my body. It all became fuel, and in that moment, I vowed that I would turn their family joke into their final humiliation, and, with that vow burning like fire in my veins, I left the hall not as their victim, but as the author of their downfall. The blood had dried stiff on my graduation gown, but it wasn't shame I carried out of that hall. It was clarity. My parents and sister had mistaken cruelty for power for too long. They thought their laughter was the final word. What they didn't know was that their stage performance had given me every weapon I needed. For weeks, I stayed silent. I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I didn't even answer their taunts when they threw my broken trophy at my bedroom door as a decoration. My mom would walk by, snickering, still bald, still pathetic, and my dad would lift his phone, pretending to take pictures of me like I was a sideshow attraction. My sister paraded around the house in her gown, deliberately leaving it draped over chairs or the banister, reminding me hers was clean and untouched. They wanted me to explode, but I didn't. Instead, I documented everything, every insult, every bruise, every drunken laugh when my dad replayed the video of him smashing the trophy into my head. He had uploaded it to his private folder on his phone, replaying it like his favorite comedy clip. He never noticed me standing in the shadows with my own phone, recording him laughing about it, bragging about how raising her this way is called parenting. I collected it all quietly, like a hunter setting traps. Then came the night of the family celebration. My sister had landed a small office job, nothing extraordinary, but my parents treated it like she'd been crowned queen of the universe. They invited neighbors, extended relatives, and even her old teachers. They went to the hall and decorated it with banners that read, "Pride of the Family." I went, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to. I wore a simple dress, head uncovered, my scalp still showing patches where the hair was trying to grow back. When I walked in, the whisper started again. My dad grinned, nudging my mom. "She's really committed to the comedy role." My mom chuckled. She should thank us for giving her a new personality. The cruelty didn't sting anymore, not after what I had prepared. When the speeches began, my dad couldn't resist making me the punchline. He tapped the mic, cleared his throat, and said, "Some kids make you proud and some just make you laugh. Guess which one this bald bird is?" The crowd erupted, my sister preened in her gown, waving like a celebrity. I waited, calm, and then when the laughter simmered, I walked up to the mic. At first people thought I was going to defend myself. My mom muttered, "Oh, here comes the pity show." My dad smirked, pulling out his phone again to record. But I didn't beg, I didn't plead. I pressed a button on my phone and the speakers in the hall filled with my father's voice. Bold like her future, his recorded words thundered across the room. Gasps spread through the crowd before they could process. The next clip played, my mom's laughter, her words clear. "Now she knows what she's worth, bleeding and bald. That's all she'll ever be." Then another clip, my sister sneering at me before graduation. "Careful not to blind the audience when the lights hit your shiny head." The hall went silent. The audience who had laughed minutes ago now turned their eyes to my parents, their smiles frozen, their bodies stiff. Every word they had thrown at me, every joke, every humiliation, it all echoed on the speakers, undeniable. I didn't stop there. I played the final recording, my dad at home, laughing over the video of smashing the trophy on my head. His voice boomed. "Best family joke yet." And then my mom's laughter layered over it like poison. When the clip ended, I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The silence in the hall was louder than any scream I could have given. People began whispering, faces twisted, not with a laughter but with disgust. My parents' friends turned away, relatives stepped back, my sister's fake smile cracked like glass. My dad's hand shook as he lowered his phone. My mom muttered, "This isn't what it looks like," but her voice wavered. I leaned into the mic, finally speaking, calm and steady. "You wanted everyone to laugh at me. Now they've heard who you really are. Let's see if anyone's laughing with you anymore." Then I walked off stage, leaving them in that suffocating silence. By the time I reached the door, I heard it, the sound I had been waiting for. No applause, no laughter, only my mother's panicked hiss, my dad's desperate shouting, and my sister's shrill voice trying to explain. The people they worshipped, the community they lived to impress, were slipping through their fingers in real time. That night they didn't come home with praise, they came home with questions, shame, and the weight of their own words crashing down on them. The neighbors stopped dropping by, relatives avoided their calls, invitations dried up, and every time they looked at me they knew the family joke had turned into their permanent scar. I didn't have to lift a hand, I didn't have to scream, I just let their cruelty speak for itself, and in doing so I gave them a stage they could never walk off. That was my revenge, not destroying them with violence, but making them live, with the one thing they couldn't stand, being seen for who they truly were. And as I lay in bed that night, scalps still raw, I smiled for the first time in years, because their laughter was gone, and it was never coming back. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.